What's going on, guys? Phantasm Mask here, and today we're going to be talking about my first impressions of the PlayStation 4. Now, I received my PS4 on launch day, and there were a few hiccups here and there on launch day, but that was to be expected with the high amount of people that are trying to get on PSN, download updates, try to play their games. I already anticipated that PSN being down, so I mostly played offline games for the time. And then PSN actually going down, and it's just been a complete nightmare ever since then for a few reasons. I ordered Battlefield 4 as a launch title, and the first day that I had this game, and even when PSN was back up and online and I was, checking it out, the game is unstable. It still is right now, and that just goes back to a previous video that I made. Did DICE or EA and DICE push out Battlefield 4? And they did, obviously, because the PlayStation 4 version, especially for a lot of people, still doesn't work. I would fire up either the campaign or the multiplayer and get an error message, and granted, this has nothing to do with the hardware, it's a software thing. It was very annoying to have my big AAA launch title for the PlayStation 4 not work on day one. As for now, it works just fine. I was able to play through the campaign and play through multiplayer ever since then, just fine. I haven't had the error pop back up. I still see bits and pieces here and there about people still having problems with it. Apparently EA and DICE are working on it. Conquest still does not work. Commander mode causes the game to crash. I mean, I really would have thought that this stuff would have been fixed by now, especially with the fact that it had been out for a few weeks on PC, but apparently not. So they're working on those issues right now. But until then, there were other games that were given out, free-to-play games or PlayStation Plus games. Resogun is an awesome game, like a new age Defender. It really is one of those games that's just really addicting. It's very bright, colorful, captures your attention. And I've really been enjoying that game a lot, despite how simple and relatively short that it is. I want to go through on higher difficulties and play this game. Contrast, my brother's mostly been playing that, but I'm not exactly sure who makes it. I think it's the same people that did Limbo. And it's a little interesting game. It should last, I think on howlongtobeat.com, it's like 4 hours to beat the game, so nothing really there worth noting. And then there's also free-to-play games like Warframe, Blacklight Retribution, and DC Universe Online. I've tried out Warframe and DCU, and they both work great. Other than that, going into the hardware, I love this UI. This UI is the cross-media bar from the PS3 on steroids. I've always liked the XMB more than the modern version of the 360. Once the 360 dashboard started to go towards that Windows 8 kind of layout, I don't like Windows 8 at all. So the furthest that I can get away from that, the better. And looking at the Xbox One's launch UI, it is Windows 8. No doubt about it. And it just looks, there's all these tiles everywhere in pinned applications. And it's just fucking confusing compared to the PlayStation 4's UI. It's simple. Everything is right here. Everything that you need, it's there. There's no sub-menus or anything like that. It's all there. Your trophies, your friends list, your download list, everything. It's on the top. And then down here, you got your list of games, and then you got your news feed of what your friends are doing. Simple. And I love it. It's great. Now, as far as like the standby mode and things like that, I guess that's an okay feature. The PS3 did this by default, to my knowledge. It was like my slim PS3 always downloaded patches, downloaded titles that were in my download queue by itself during the hours of like 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. So with the PS4, I guess it's a good thing that you can do it optional now. I don't really see what the point is, considering that I'm probably going to leave mine in standby for the majority of the time to download patches. Which, by the way, at the time of recording this, 1.51 is out, and supposedly it's fixed a lot of problems for people, so that's a good thing. Kudos to Sony for hurry up and getting a firmware update out so quick. Now, there are a few things that I really want to talk about with this, and probably the major problem that I have with the PlayStation 4. I tested this out, this little tiny thing that Sony likes to call a microphone. This thing is a piece of shit. There is no doubt about it. This is definitely where Sony cut corners. I don't understand what they were thinking with calling this a headset. The audio quality is horrible. The only thing I can say is that you have an earbud here with a little tiny clip for a microphone, clip for your microphone here. You got your little volume control here, and it's really bad. I have no desire to use this anytime in the future. The only thing I can think of is that maybe this is Sony's way of trying to get you to go out and buy one of their branded headsets like the Pulse Elite, which, by the way, still does not work with the PlayStation 4, considering that they said that it would be available at launch. So headset support for right now is extremely limited. There are very few branded headsets out there that you can use. I think you can use some Astras and some Turtle Beaches. But for right now, this is a piece of garbage, and I have no intention of buying a headset anytime soon. So, for all my friends out there on PSN, probably won't be using any voice communication anytime soon, unless I can integrate my Vita's microphone and use it as a headset while I have my big, awesome headphones plugged in. Now, let's see, oh, my brother has it, sorry. I was going to do a comparison between the DualShock 3 and 4, but my brother currently has my PlayStation 3, so I love this controller. This just is, between the DualShock 3 and 4, this is night and day in terms of the difference. It feels good in your hand, it plays very well. I don't want to say that it's as good as, say, the GameCube controller, but it's definitely up there. I really like how it feels really good in your hand, like it feels natural. The buttons are just the right sensitivity, the D-pad functions great. My only thing is that while I was playing games like Battlefield 4 or Resogun or anything like that, I found that when I would reach for the options button here, I would click the touchpad, which in Battlefield 4, when you click the touchpad, it brings up Battle Log, their stat tracking service, and the options button brings up the pause menu. Now, I would keep on finding myself hitting the touchpad while trying to reach for the options button. Personally, I think that's something I just have to get used to because this is a new layout of a controller, and it's, like I said, it's probably just operator error on my part. As for the triggers, these things feel great. Using them in Battlefield 4 felt awesome compared to the DualShock 3, which didn't even use the triggers, it used the bumpers. I really love the feel of the new triggers. Sony really outdid themselves when it comes to this controller. Another thing that I want to address is this light. A lot of people online are complaining about the brightness of this light. Like I just read some guy complaining about how the light he wants the ability for the light to be switched off so that way when he's watching movies it doesn't like show up on his screen or something like that. I was really confused by his comment because the sentence structure was a little out of whack. But this thing is not really that bright, guys. It's not something that's going to bother the hell out of you. Holding it up to my screen, I can't even see a reflection of the light. That's how dim this thing really is. It's not something that's going to intrude on your screen and disrupt your gameplay or be distracting in any way, unless you just have ADD and you just keep on looking at that. I don't quite know what the problem is with the light. So the DualShock 4 is a vast improvement over the 3. I really like it. I can't wait to see, I know Killzone Shadowfall uses the touchpad a little bit. Assassin's Creed 4 uses it. So, as of right now, I don't really have any games that use the touchpad. So, for that, it's awesome. As for the sound of the system, and what I mean by that is how loud it is and how loud it operates. When it comes to the launch PS3 or the launch 360 and the PS4, I think I may have a video example of this. Let's see, over my right shoulder will be what the PS4 sounds like, and over my left shoulder will be what a launch PS3 sounds like. So yeah, it's kind of a bit of a night and day thing when it comes to how loud this console is. It's really quiet. I love it. The little light on the top is a nice little accent. Again, it's not something that's really that distracting. What would I like to see from the PlayStation 4 in the future? I would like to see more options when it comes to broadcasting. I tried broadcasting on Twitch a few times, and due to the fact that Battlefield 4 is still a mess, when I tried to broadcast that game, there was no audio, and supposedly that this is an isolated problem with that piece of software alone. The rest of the game streamed just fine. I would like to see some YouTube support for that. I would like to see a YouTube app, because as of right now, I've had to use some kind of weird, like youtube.com/leanback, which is the TV version of YouTube. It looks exactly like the YouTube app that was on the PlayStation 3. So I've had to use that in the web browser, which the web browser is, for some reason, missing a lot of plugins that the PlayStation 3 web browser had. It's a bit of a downside. I mean, I know very many people don't really use the web browser on the PlayStation 3, or even for the PS4 for that matter, but I do like the fact that I can pause my software, go right over to the web browser now, and look up a strategy guide if I need to, instead of having to use my laptop, or use my Vita, or in my phone. So it's a nice little accessory to be able to run things in the background. As for music playback, Music Unlimited, I don't like the fact that I can't put my own music on my console right now, even though it has been confirmed it is coming in a firmware update. It's not speculation now, it's not something that we're working on it, no, it's going to happen, it's been confirmed. So, until then, Music Unlimited crashes a lot when I'm trying to run it in the background of a game like Resogun or Battlefield 4. It just, all of a sudden it'll pause, and there's not really much of an option for me to balance out music and the gameplay volume at the same time through my headphones. So right now that's something I would like to see in the future. I would also like to see a more robust video editing system, because as of right now it's trim, save. That's about all you have. Some games aren't recording the full 15 minutes that are supposed to be backlogged on the secondary processor. Supposedly they're working on that. Some games do, some games don't. So, the PlayStation 4 has been off to a very shaky start when it comes to the launch, at least in my opinion. I mean, the thing is perfectly functional, don't get me wrong. Very few people have actually had problems with their PlayStation 4 to the point where they've had to send it back or get it exchanged. But so far, I'm impressed with the piece of hardware that Sony has out there. And to be honest, I can't wait to see what the Xbox One has to offer. I won't be getting that one at launch, but I'll probably be getting it somewhere down the line. I really want to see how these consoles compete against each other. So, I love the PlayStation 4. I can't wait to see what comes out of it. So, until next time, Phantasm Mask here, signing out.